Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hopefully you're healthy during these hard times. Welcome back to Mario's World, the place where education meets fun. Since most of you have already asked me to do this kind of video or series, here I am making one. The whole idea of those series is to educate you guys on the financial markets and give you some insight to what am I thinking as a trader, as an investor. In this kind of episode, I'm gonna be analyzing two currency pairs. To be more precise, that will be USD CAD and at the same time US 30, which is Dow Jones. And before starting off, I just want to say that these are all purely my analysis and my ideas of how I would execute trades. As most of you already know, I'm into Forex trading for already about 2 years and more. And I think these kind of series will definitely educate you about how I think is the best way to create a profitable strategy for yourself. Before starting off, I just want to say that my analysis are mainly technical analysis, so there's also fundamental analysis. For any type of other advices and analysis, I would definitely recommend you go and check out the app called investing.com. Through the app, you'll be able to see the events and news happening live. And at the same time, you'll be able to see what is going to be happening the next days, weeks, or months. That way you definitely take into consideration both fundamentals and technicals. I won't be looking into fundamentals in this video, but that is definitely a must for you to be taking into consideration before you start trading. And also before we move on, make sure to leave a like if you really like this type of series and leave a comment down below on what kind of pairs do you want me to analyze next. I'll be doing one of those videos every now and then, maybe every few weeks, and if you really enjoy those, I'll be making one every 1 week. Also make sure to check out my previous video before you start watching this video, as it's incredibly crucial for you to know the stuff that you need to know before you start trading or investing in general. The video will be accessible to you on the top right hand corner if you click on the eye. Having said all of that, I think it's time to get down to the analysis. Hopefully you enjoyed this new setup. Let's get straight into it. Before we get into the analysis, I just want to say that there's going to be 7 specific criteria for each trade that I'm personally thinking of taking each time when I do my analysis. Number 1 is win ratio. And on that type of analysis, I would definitely recommend going over your win ratio over 10 trades, 50 trades, and 100 trades, and so on. The next thing is risk reward, or some people say it reward risk ratio. Usually I would say that the bigger the number is, the better. So I just want to make sure that I'm optimizing my potential profits and I would risk much less to gain much more. The next thing you need to know is definitely the execution price alongside with the take profit and stop loss. You need to have those things written down before you execute the trade so that you know exactly how to enter it, and at the same time make sure that you do your analysis after the trade has finished and analyze how your trade performed based on those previous stats. Number 6 is something very crucial to me, and that is how much do you think it will take for my trade to hit the take profit? That way I'll definitely be able to see whether there has been some fundamentals, meaning news, that I didn't take into consideration or I did take into consideration correctly and it led to me either losing or winning. At the same time, I'll be able to think about swaps, which is number 7. I need to definitely make sure that I have the correct swaps. And swaps are basically the rates that the broker is giving you when you enter a specific trade. The idea is that if the swaps are positive, you're going to be gaining money each day that you have that position open, and if it's negative, that means that you'll be losing money each day. In a summary, that is basically what you're looking at when you enter the trade for the swap of the currencies. So for example, if you're trading on USD CAD, you're basically swapping the USD and the CAD. You can definitely see the swaps on each kind of pair when you just click on details and you go all the way to the bottom where it says swaps long or swaps short. Okay, in this video we're gonna be using TradingView and their specific software, as it's very convenient and it's free to use. As I previously mentioned, I wanted to analyze 2 currency pairs during this video, but I can see that this video is going to be much longer than I expected, that I anticipated it to be, so I'm going to be analyzing only USD CAD. So usually how it goes is that you type in on top of the currency pair, and once you've done that, you just open the full featured chart. Something incredibly crucial for me is to look first at the candles. People have different types of preferences on how they look at charts and the specific candles, but I really do prefer the candles, as you can see here on the USD CAD. That is incredibly crucial for me because I can't really get as much information as on the previous ones. As you can see here, if it was just linear and you've chosen the line, you'll be able to see as the price moves, and that's based on the close price. You won't be able to see how the move fluctuated during these hours. Whereas if you go on bars and you're necessarily on candles, for example, this candlestick opened here and it closed here just before the green candlestick was actually closed. At the same time, you'll be able to see that there's some wicks onto it. That's basically an indication that the price went to these levels but it didn't close there. Now that you basically know why I'm using these specific candles and not anything else, you'll be able to see the advantages of using such candlesticks rather than using line. So as you can see here, body, that's the body and that's the wick. Okay, let's start our analysis. I usually trade on 1 hour, but I 100% go over bigger time frames beforehand and a bit smaller so that I'll be able to make my analysis as in-depth as possible. As you can see here on daily, we're going to be starting off by creating some resistances and supports so that it's easier for us to understand how the trend is moving and what is the trend. This was a very good support level. And let's say, for example, we're going to start by the highest point, but not necessarily the highest of the highest. Maybe this. You can also put a specific range in between, which you think may have been just a way of fluctuating of the price, maybe having news or something similar. So that's something that I'm going to be doing. As you can see, this one is not necessarily a specific level that I'll be targeting, but it is a level that I'm going to be looking into whether there's going to be some price movement and volatility around that. We may be doing the same thing here. So let's say, for example, it will be this price. So this level may have been a key level, as you can see, as the price moved out of it very quickly. This may have happened actually on a lower time frame on this candlestick, and on, as you can see here, actually this is exactly what happened. And the last one I'm going to be putting on the daily time frame is this one. As you can see, I've put this one as a resistance which became support here, as it made a small flag which I'm going to be showing you later on during the video. And then when it broke through, it just retested the level and it went all the way down. The same thing happened here. As you can see, the price, it moved and it touched this level and it went up, and at the same time probably on the lower levels and on the daily here you can see it retested again. Same thing was happened here on 13th and 14th of May all the way to 19th and rebounded from that level, which became a resistance level. And as we're still on daily, there's something else that I can definitely look into, and that is, why not make a trend line? It's all about making sense of the market and how it moved. So in my opinion, this is an overall estimate of how the price touched, and at the same time, as you can see here, it aligned, and it went through perfectly on the top. Another one that I will be considering adding on for now is this one, definitely. As you can see, this one aligns perfectly, as here, 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 and here it already retested. Here I don't like seeing the volumes, so let me just remove the volumes. Ultimately, as you can see here, there's a gap that needs to be filled. Usually these kind of gaps are filled within a week or so, but due to the current circumstances that happened around 9th of March all the way to 19th of March, probably this had something to do with oil prices, resulted in this kind of huge gap, which was not filled up until this date. Now it's time to move into the 4 hours. As we're looking into 4 hours, you can see that there's going to be a few more key levels that we need to look into. Definitely one of those levels is this one. So we may actually say that this level that we made on daily previously was a very good estimate, but on the daily. So you can have in mind that even though this was a good resistance level and it was or support level, and it was retested previously and it created volatility, there may be even a more decent level which created a double top, which is a pattern we're going to be discussing later on. We're just going to zoom in to see a bit more on what was happening beforehand. And we're going to be going into these market analysis here. As you can see, this was perfectly executed based on our patterns so far. Same follows here. Hopefully this all makes at least some sense to you guys. As you can see here, that's a trend line that I just made on the 4 hours candlesticks. It basically represents a trend line which was respected over the buy period, and at the same time afterwards, when the line break through, it became sell. As you can see, we retested a few times and then it came back to the previous new trend line, which executed already a few times. So as you can see, it had 1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches, 4. Here probably on 1 hourly we'll be able to see 5, 6, however many here, 7, 8, and that's it for now. Now it's time to look a bit further down in 1 hour, as this is considerable. Usually when I go down to hourly, I already tend to look only for the past month or so maximum, so that I'll be able to see a bit further on how the market is moving now, so that I'll be able to make day trades or maybe even close to swing trades. As you can see here, there's a few smaller horizontal lines that we can insert, and that is basically on the time frames that we're using at the moment. So for example, on this trend line, I just created it based on this candlestick, and this candlestick. But as you can see, probably there's going to be other places as here and almost here, which represented that this key level was actually a true important key level for the price to move. As you can see here, again, have the same level here, and on a few other places as well. As you can see, I've just created this trend line, which allowed us to see that there was a movement and buy opportunities here when it comes down to the USD CAD pair. And it actually would allow us to make a huge sell for a potential profit of about 80 pips or so in the matter of a few days. As I can see, USD CAD is currently sitting in a zone that I definitely wouldn't want to trade. So it's definitely on the lookout for me for the next few weeks or so, as I'll be looking into selling more if possible. I had a sell which was launched actually at this specific price, which was 41200, which resulted in me taking a stop loss, which was a plus stop loss here at plus 4%. So for example, I managed to execute a short trade here, which I'm going to explain to you exactly what was the risk reward and how it came to be. As I told you previously, I would usually aim to close the gap, so actually my actual take profit was very low, and it was, to be exact, somewhere here. As you can see, this is a clear example of a trade that I executed and how it actually ended up. My initial entry was here, as you can see, on 41150, and I had my take profit where the gap closes. Unfortunately, I put my stop loss just above this level here, and it just hit my stop loss. So I managed to result in plus 4%. As you can see, the overall risk reward ratio for this trade is 1 to 14, and that was something that I was aiming at doing for the next week and a half or so. However, it's very important to remember this rule, and that is not to lose money. You're aiming to make money, but at the same time, the first rule is not to lose any money. So I went risk-free as quick as possible, and at the same time I was executing a long trade based on this double bottom, which resulted in me having to close on a profit of very solid few percent. And as you can see, I had 1 to 5 ratio, which resulted to me gaining a few percentages, as I didn't actually execute with 1%, as I was previously thinking that it's gonna go down. That means that I gained 2.5% on this trade, which was extremely good when you think about it. One of the best things that you can do is actually scale in on positions that you think are going to be going very well in your favor. What I mean by that is that if this price actually reached out to this level, I would have definitely shorted it. That means that I would be able to short at this level and scale in on my short position. That means that I probably wouldn't have to even enter another long position as I had here. When you look further on the 30 minutes, you can also see that it may be also creating a trend line, which can result into another buy. What I may be looking into is buying at this specific level, as you can see, because it aligns with previous levels we've had, and at the same time I can see the price is really moving towards this level. So let's say, for example, if the candlesticks do come to this level, but they do not close underneath it as these candlesticks, so that's something that we want to see here at the same time. That may be a trade that I may consider taking. And hopefully when I upload this video, this might have been something that has already happened and have resulted in take profit for me. My stop loss would be considerably tight, but still lower than the previous low. I wouldn't try to maximize the risk reward in this trade, so I'm gonna just go a bit lower than the previous low, which is here. As you can see, the previous movement lasted for approximately 39010. For approximately 60 pips. So as you can see, I'm gonna be targeting 78 pips, and I'm gonna be putting a stop loss at 32 pips, which resulted in 2.45 ratio. I'm gonna be putting a buy limit. Hopefully things will go on my way and we'll see that this is a profitable trade. If not, we know we all lose, and that's part of the game. The most important thing is that you realize that you're here to win and not to lose. And at the same time, if you lose, it's not the end of the game. You know that these are just normal stuff that are happening to everybody around the world. So this will be the only position that I'm going to be looking into entering when it comes down to USD CAD. And if it actually hits take profit, that means that it will reach out the previous level I was speaking about. At that level, I'll probably look into shorting, and I'm going to show you exactly what kind of trade I may be looking into. Let's say this trade executes somewhere around this area. I'll try to maximize my potential take profit as much as possible. So here I'm going to be trying with a stop loss of 25 pips, as you can see here, which will probably be enough for me to cover up on the previous high, which was here. And I'll be aiming for my previous take profit, which would be approximately 1 to 18 ratio. Hopefully these two trades will be some of the profitable trades that I'm going to be executing this week, as I'm currently monitoring about 3 other pairs as well, and that will be something that I'll definitely look into in the future episodes. These are going to be the only 2 trades that I'm going to be executing on USD CAD this week. Hopefully they all came through, and obviously if the first trade that I'm going to be putting in doesn't end up for me taking take profit, I'll probably have to adjust my second trade. So hey guys, here we are 1 day later, and I can tell you that one of the trades actually hit take profit and one unfortunately hit the stop loss. It's time to dive into the analysis and see how it actually played out. So as I told you previously, this was the trade that I entered beforehand with 1 to 14 risk reward ratio, and it resulted in plus 5%, which was taken out approximately at this area. And when we're looking back into the trades which we executed together, this was the trade that I executed just before creating the video, and it resulted in hitting the take profit from 1 to 8.88 risk reward ratio, which means we risked 1% to gain 8.82%, which we gained. So we can say so far we've made almost 9% for 1 day. This potential trade that we had running on over here didn't execute with 2.45 risk reward ratio. The price didn't reach our pending orders, so at the end of the day it actually didn't execute. So we're just gonna remove that very simply by pressing delete. Oh. And as you can see, this was the next trade that we executed, and this is the one that actually hit our stop loss, and it was actually entered. Let me show you guys. It was actually entered exactly at this area. So as soon as our first trade hit take profit, I decided to enter the second trade on the line, as you can see here, which resulted in a stop loss in a matter of a few hours. That obviously is not brilliant, but as you can see, it's better for now. As you can see, the moment it hit our stop loss, it retested the level again. So there's 2 possible scenarios now, whether this price moves a bit higher and it reaches the previous level of our stop loss, which is here, and it makes head and shoulders. So let me just zoom in for you guys to see what I mean. I'm also gonna put head and shoulders, the pattern itself, what it actually is. So we're gonna be looking if it creates the head and shoulders here to enter short position. And that will definitely reward us with having very low stop loss and at the same time very big take profit. So overall, from the past few days of creating this video, we resulted in plus 7.82%. That is because we risked 1% to gain 8.82, and at the same time we risked 1% to gain 25%, which resulted in a loss. So we have 1 winning and 1 losing trade. This video is probably a bit longer than you expected, but I think there's a huge amount of knowledge and education going on around it. So please do leave a like if you enjoyed it. It took me a long time to prepare for it, and I really want you guys to like my content. So please leave a comment down below whether you want to see these kind of videos. Make sure to subscribe to turn that notification bell on to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. Having said all of that, thank you so much for watching, and up to the next one. See ya!